So for those of you who've never seen one of these are pretty much our little live streams that we try to do every Friday. But yeah, so we're pretty much going to cover today 3 of the movies that we saw. We braved the storm. Went out. Completely empty theaters. Absolutely nobody was there.
Nobody.
Which is crazy because some of the movies that we saw, what we're going to be covering today is The Hunt, Bloodshot, I Still Believe, Never Rarely Sometimes, Big Time Adolescence. Pretty much, if you've never done or listened to any of these, we kind of have a little playlist of these old live streams. Try to do them every Friday, never really do them every Friday. Never, rarely, sometimes, never. But we try to do them pretty much to cover our first thoughts on these. No spoilers. I know we usually do spoilers in LME, but no spoilers. Talking about the newest movies that have come out this week. And then pretty much getting your guys' input on it since you guys have the live stream right there. So shout out to everyone listening to the live stream. We always love your guys' input there. Many times you guys like help us with a thought or something. Yes. And then we like doing a little like Q&A at the end. So thank you for everyone who's listening live. And if you're not, you're watching this later in the future.
Hello, future you.
Hopefully we do keep these every Friday. Hopefully we're here by next Friday. I'll say that. Let's talk about the first one because I think this was the most anticipated one people wanted to talk about. The Hunt, which is it got canceled last year. Like literally got canceled.
Gone.
No, like hashtag canceled. And then when they delayed it, it got delayed to the worst possible timing.
Worst time, and then they couldn't do anything about it.
They couldn't do anything about it, but that's what they get for trying to be really kind. I wish they had more of the pictures here, but they got so cocky with it because, the subject matter being that people are getting hunted by these really rich, liberal elites, actually, in this movie, which is in the trailer. But in the first one, a lot of people took it as something that needed to be boycotted along with a lot of the shootings that were happening. And having seen the movie, yeah.
Definitely. This movie, I don't even know how to explain it.
It does a lot of things that I think people are just going to... it's very cringy, I will say that.
It does. It's like a Twitter thread come to life in like the most cringy way, I guess.
And not the good side of Twitter either, but I think the problem with it is it knows that it wants to be cringy.
Yes.
I think you had said that a better movie that really reflects what Twitter is like in real life and doesn't just... like this, it's the politics in this one are very on the nose.
Very.
But you had said Zola does it better.
Zola does it so much better. So if I know you guys have heard us talk about Zola on this channel before. We saw it at Sundance. It is based on a Twitter thread. That one's much better if you're looking for a movie based on Twitter. This movie, The Hunt, not so much.
And this actually comes from the guy who did... I want to see if they actually put his name over here. Craig Zobel. He actually did one of my favorites, Compliance. This movie is disgusting. It's nasty. Highly recommend it. One of the best of the decade. But I think this being based off of a true story really helps the crazy moments that are happening within this movie where this manager gets duped by someone who's randomly calling the store to do crazy things to one of the employees, and she falls for it because she thinks it's coming from someone who has authority.
This one, and people follow it.
Yeah, playing again with the way people view society and they view each other through Twitter and such, but... The funniest part being is that it tried using the controversy dealing with mass shootings that are happening in America, and then used the marketing to be like, the movie everyone hates but no one has seen. Literally no one has seen because now nobody wants to go to the movie theaters. So they literally played themselves again with the coronavirus and people not wanting to go out. This was one of the movies that I think actually had some people. Barely anyone went to Bloodshot. I Still Believe nobody believed in because none of the 5 Christians bought, and I'm going to say they were. But a little faith they had because they did not show up to that screening whatsoever. They got raptured. But for The Hunt, a lot of people actually did go. And for the LME, whenever we do it, we had the screenshot that I showed you where there was actually people, the way they were supposed to be, separated in the movie theater. But the positive things I would say is a lot of things they tell you in the trailer are lies. A lot of people would get mad at that. I usually would get mad at that. And I do get mad at a lot of things they did with the marketing for this movie. But they do a really cool thing. Right, like in the first 30 minutes, the movie changes on you.
They do.
And it changes on you a lot, actually, that it might get annoying. But I think some of them may be nice little surprises. She is incredible in it. I was very upset that she wasn't going to be able to have, like, her lead role in this. Betty Gilpin from...
she starred in Glow. She starred in...
Well, I love her the most in Glow. I know she was... Everything else that she's been in, like, in movies has been side characters. For the Rebel Wilson one, I know she was a side character.
She was in Grudge for very little time.
Yeah, and she was in The Grudge. They just had her cry. So it's like, this was something that I was excited to see her in. I feel like they personally cut up the movie. Like, that's the one thing that I think... Like, it feels like it went through something after the controversy. And while I do love her performance in this movie, our audience was not having it. They thought they thought she was weird. There's a moment where she does something, and they pull the what's the CBS show where they pause for comedic effect,
Like
and when
Big
you
Bang
Big Bang
Theories?
Theory, and when you don't have anybody there for the comedic effect,
It's just-
it was just very awkward. So I felt really bad for her. But that is The Hunt. I personally think it's worth watching if you rent it. Actually, so if you're renting
with a group of people.
with a group of people, I
Yeah.
don't think it's worth seeing a matinee or combo price as we would call it. But
If you're gonna do it alone, at least do a Twitter live type thing, because it's gonna change every 5 minutes.
what, The Hunt?
Yeah, like your thoughts on it. As
Oh,
people are watching
yeah,
it.
the way that it switches up on it. But yeah, I would say it's a rental. It is not worth leaving your house and
No.
getting hunted by people who are looking for
Let's
toilet paper.
preface this entire thing. We do not condone you going out watching these movies, whatever rating we give them.
Yes.
If you are showing symptoms, stay home. No
Well,
one wants your germs.
Granted, I said rented, so I definitely said don't leave the house. I personally would give, as of now, as first thought, I would give it 2.5. I do like some of the performances in it. I think the premise has potential, but some of it just doesn't make sense. Like, if you're trying to get the emotions across, like I think Compliance does, there still needs to be, as crazy as the story gets, some of it needs to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, this just feels like a caricature of Twitter threads.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, that literally becomes the
And-
plot, and
Yes. Like, one of them for sure is. I know for sure one of them is. And with a
So-
little bit more research on the full video to come, then.
yeah,
we'll
what would
let
you give
know.
it?
I'll also rent it.
Let me see what else anybody said. It is kind of short. I'm excited to hear the take on Bloodshot. Curious if I should go check it out. Then I'm going to go to this one. Because Bloodshot comes from a magazine. I believe it's a Valiant magazine. So this is Vin Diesel's comic book adaptation. His second one. Vin Diesel, of course, known for the Groot movies. And here,
course.
I'm a big fan of his Riddick series. I know that
The Chronicles.
yeah, the Chronicle of Riddick. Riddick, and then Pitch Black.
Mhm.
Pitch Black, I believe it is. Let me see. Come off as a fake Riddick fan. And then obviously Fast and Furious. Yeah, Riddick. I want to say the other one. He tried doing this also with the Witch Hunt. Like actually trying to do. Oh, it's Dark Fury. Wait, no. Dark Fury is the anime that came up from it. Pitch Black. See, I knew it. He tried doing something with this as well, Witch Hunt, which was supposed to spawn like a franchise. It didn't really. Riddick's been the closest one that he's been able to do. Obviously, he also had. Where is the other one? Triple X, which tried making a comeback, didn't really come back. But obviously, he's got he's Groot. He's got his Furious movies, which one of them got delayed. Luckily, Vin Diesel just snuck in there, proving that he is the
Just
fastest
snuck
of it,
in there.
and was able to get Bloodshot out. Again, the comic book adaptation from Valiant. And I personally really liked it.
It was fun.
Yeah. I think that he is trying to be The Rock now
Yeah.
with the way that he's doing
He was throwing a couple shots in there.
Look, if you go back and you see the choreography that this man has been doing with his previous movies, he definitely has a certain type of flexibility. The Rock movies have a certain type of
Template.
yeah, just the
Outline,
fighting style.
outline,
Yeah, and the
outline,
fighting
okay.
style that he does. And I think he's definitely trying to be bigger than he. I'm not saying he's not swole, but I think they're definitely he's definitely trying to come off bigger now that The Rock has taken his spin off, and literally everything The Rock is in is his superpower is being him. So Vin Diesel wants it as well. I love that he still has his Dago tee in this. He no matter what he has, they have him in camouflage, being an army.
Always.
It doesn't matter.
Always.
He rips that off completely, and he's still back to being. It's all about familia, really. But in this one, he is a person, an army guy who dies, comes back because they use this technology to be able to recreate. Within his blood is this nanotech that anytime he gets shot, kind of like Wolverine, it comes back, as you see right there.
He regenerates.
Yeah, he's able to regenerate, but along regenerating, he's pretty much like this trained assassin to do anything that they need him to do. And that's kind of where it spawns off of. Definitely, it's trying to be a series. I think the most difficult part of that is, while I enjoy this one, people don't like this movie. While I enjoy it, I think that its biggest benefits are the fact that Dave Wilson, the director, has never really directed anything in the past. He's more so, he's done a lot of VFX stuff, and I think he does a lot of good VFX stuff because Bloodshot has a lot of really high frame rate stuff.
It does.
So it's definitely worth the movie theater
Yeah.
experience. I personally would give it a junior price for that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying risk your life.
Don't risk your life.
Go see Bloodshot, end up with your bloodshot all over, but
If you do and you're not showing symptoms, sit at least 4 seats away from everybody.
yes, and when you use a stall, and if look, guys, if there's a person using every other urinal, You don't go to the urinals in between. You go to the stall. That's how it goes. But if you do go see Bloodshot, I think it's definitely worth the Dolby for it. I think the sound design and mixing of it was fantastic. But we saw the Ang Lee movie earlier this year.
The Ang Lee was Gemini Man. Gemini Man with Will Smith.
He shot that thing in like 120 frames per second. All the composition I thought was crap. This, at least, has things that they're going for it, as cartoony as it is, as over-the-top as it is. It's based off of a comic book. So, like, I thought it looked pretty cool for that, and I think they give you the visual bang for your buck.
Do you think the guy having his visual effects background knows, like, okay, if I'm going to have my artist do a certain thing, then the shot needs to be longer or higher frame rate or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, he would have definitely been ahead of it. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Cool. He actually knows how to frame the stuff. Yeah. That said, as great as he is in that, the story kind of makes no sense. Yeah. There's twists that happen in the movie that when you rewatch it, they do that thing that I definitely hate, where if you were to rewatch this movie, all of the characters purposefully act off.
They do. They have this thing like, oh, look at the side eye.
Yeah, but they do it in a way where people, in order to preserve certain like ways that the story goes, they just have characters act ways that they wouldn't act on purpose. And I'm not really a big fan of that. What is it?
Someone with extra bacon mentioned if we've seen Upgrade.
Yes, that's actually something that I had written down after we had watched it. It's a lot like Upgrade. Honestly, this movie feels like Vin Diesel trying a bunch of different things. I had put, they kind of go the Alita route with one of the side characters, right? Toby Kebbell plays a villain in this movie, and he's straight up Black Mask. He's Ewan McGregor's Black Mask.
He is.
There was another thing that he did. Oh, they have a lot of Doc Ockish scenes. And I'm not saying that they don't do them well, and it already is a comic, but the visual style that they go for, it's very good cosplay. And I feel like that's a negative way to put it, but they're definitely relying on a lot of things we've already seen. There's a certain point, it's his upgrade. Hell, his Letty moments when he's forgetting things as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, Crank. There's even a moment where they definitely, they do the Jason Statham Crank.
They do.
He pretty much looks at it and he goes, you know what? I'm going to one up all of my peers, all of my Jason Statham's, all of my other action stars, and just do all of their movies in one. So for that, I think he gets a 3.5. I liked it. It is very dumb. I am not defending the story in any way, shape, or form. But in terms of visuals and in terms of the Dolby, I thought it did very well. So that's what I would say. So for those of you wanting to go see it, full quarantine yourself unless you got the nanotechnology this man has. And yeah, I think you would enjoy it. This though was playing in IMAX.
It was
optimized for IMAX, but it wasn't shot in IMAX. And there's one thing that I really do not like is movies coming out in IMAX but not being filmed in IMAX. Because then you have like a majority of the IMAX screen that's not being filled because it wasn't filmed to that ratio.
What's the point?
What's the point? This is, it's called I Still Believe from the Irwin brothers, who previously had done a couple of other Christian movies as well. October Baby, Woodlawn, which was pretty decent. We liked I Can Only Imagine, and we actually prefer I Can Only Imagine to this one. Yeah. I Can Only Imagine being the Mercy Me kind of biopic. Again, I thought that was a decent movie. Did okay. I Still Believe is the same type of template, but this time it's for Jeremy Camp.
Yes.
They got the guy from Archie. Mm-hmm. They got Britt Robertson playing Britt Robertson as Britt Robertson. But there's one thing in this movie right off the bat. If you've ever seen Jeremy Camp had like a day goatee here. And I might actually make an LME for this one just because I used to listen to Jeremy Camp back in the day. I know his story. And I do think it's a really good, how would I put it? It's a good story that they have. Like, he made an album about it.
Jeremy Camp's story, amazing.
The Jeremy Camp movie
that
is different. There is still adaptation that needs to be happened. Yeah. Just because the gas is in the pump doesn't mean you can get into your car. Some people don't know how to do that.
Like, it took place in the 90s, and I did not feel like I was in the 90s.
At no point does this movie feel like it's in the 90s. This man don't look at all like what Jeremy Camp did in the 90s. And then they made up parts, and especially with Christian movies. It's an okay movie. I give it 2 stars. I think it does a decent retelling of their story, but it's such a good story. Heartbreaking story. Yeah. And a story of love that I don't see why you need to make up love triangles in it. That is what I'll say about this movie. But you don't need to see it in IMAX. We were promised also, may I say, what was her name?
Who?
There was like an IMAX experience.
So the IMAX experience was supposed to have a Lauren Daigle. I guess we weren't in that event or whatever it was.
Or they just...
But I got gypped out of Lauren Daigle IMAX experience.
Yeah, we got gypped out of the Lauren Daigle IMAX experience. So I'm a little upset about that. We stayed till the credits.
We did!
Nobody was there. This was the movie that, they heard Holy Water couldn't stand up to coronavirus. So they weren't even risking it. People had bought seats. They had reserved them. Theater was completely empty, so we're the only ones there. Yeah, they did not play the Lauren Daigle thing. The movie was not shot in IMAX. It's a decent story. This one I would give a stream it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely catch. If you like these types of movies, I would start with I Can Only Imagine because it's only going to go down.
And you can rent it. And I think we gave that one a rent it, and you could definitely already catch that one there. But that was I Still Believe. We had covered The Hunt. We had covered Bloodshot. I keep wanting to call it Bloodsport. Now we got two that we actually highly recommend. Yes. One to catch if you're willing to risk in theaters, and one you can actually watch at home. They dropped it a week early.
They did.
Both of these came out at Sundance. Different years at Sundance, though. Never, rarely, sometimes, always. Comes out this year. I believe it's in limited now. Even more limited now.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the only negative part of this movie, that it just circumstances are gonna
came out at a terrible time.
Yes.
This movie comes from Eliza Hittman, and it was a Sundance premiere that pretty much follows these two girls who are going into New York after circumstances drive them there. Very patiently directed movie. And when I say patiently, a lot of people are just going to think it's slow and that it's boring. And I feel like me 10 years ago...
Sure. I can see why a lot of people would say it. It is a detailed step by step.
Yeah.
It's a chronological...
You're following these two girls who live in...
Pennsylvania.
Nowhere's Pennsylvania, really. And they're trying to get to New York to get a procedure done. And along the way, I think you have what is a mastercraft, not only at directing, but we have a whole Intricate podcast on this that's going to be coming out soon. Yeah, she is fantastic. She pretty much went through the movie in order to do the movie. Got this actress who she had told years ago, I'm going to find something for you. I'm going to find something for you. Incredible in this movie. I'd put her akin to... I kept mentioning it. Last year, the one with the father-daughter and they're up in the woods.
Leave No Trace?
Yes.
The director?
Yeah. No. The girl who's in it, the actress. And we've been seeing her.
She's in a bunch of movies.
Yeah,
now too.
Mackenzie. I want to say it's Mackenzie. Thomas and Mackenzie?
Thomas
and Mackenzie. All right, I got it. I should just search it over here. Thomas and Mackenzie. I thought she was fantastic in Leave No Trace.
Mm-hmm.
That's the level that she's playing at right here, Sydney Flanagan. I'd even put her to the level, and I said this on the Let Us Explain. What's her name from Winter's Bone? Jennifer Lawrence. I would say she's just as good as Jennifer Lawrence was in that movie. Some people may disagree. Well, I disagree with them. I don't know if you have some other stuff to add to this movie, but I would just say it's a very patient movie that doesn't speak what it needs to say. It shows it to you in very quiet and tender moments. When you realize how the title comes into play, when there's a certain scene involving hands, which don't use hands now.
Don't use hands.
But for this moment especially, and within the context of the movie, it's cinema. All of us came out of it going like, that is cinema. Yeah. I don't know if you had anything else to add.
Nope. Catch it if you can. Please read the synopsis for people that may or may not be triggered by certain topics.
And even then, I think it definitely hones it into a perspective where you're not just looking at it from an unemotional way. I think it's a very emotional movie, as cold as it is. And I think it'll speak to a lot more people if they give it a chance. Mm-hmm. Never, rarely, sometimes, always. Big Time Adolescence, bro. This thing.
When did we watch this at Sundance?
Like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah. This was.
This was the year that I was really sick. Man, if I was that sick when this.
So here's the thing. Every time we go to Sundance, it's Sundance especially, but any film festival, Alina loves to cough up a long liver. Like anything.
I always get sick around that time.
So can you imagine if we were going to screenings right now and I got her sniffling?
It's not even the sniffing. I was coughing.
We got 2319.
2319.
Big Time Adolescence came out 2 years ago. Psych came out a week from now. Psych, Hulu said they're going to release it early. They're taking advantage. All the streaming services are taking advantage. I actually just got an email. I wanted to talk about this a little bit later, but look at this right here. South by West online screening, and we were just making a thing about, I'll get to it a little bit, with South by being postponed and such, but Big Time Adolescence, streaming services are taking advantage of it because they can release whenever they need to. This is a movie that we called Superbad adjacent. We had a year where we had Superbad Junior with...
Technically, this came out with...
Booksmart come
at
out.
South by.
Everyone called that the female Superbad.
Big Time Adolescence, and then Good Boys.
And Good Boys, we called the Superbad
Yeah.
Junior. This was the Superbad adjacent, in a
Yep.
sense, where it wasn't both of them going off to college. It was one looking up to like a college bump, not really, just someone in their 20s, and a kid who is still in high school, has the opportunity to do something with himself. But yeah, he's just with this aimless college dropout. May not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's on Hulu right now.
It is.
And we thought it was
If you have
hilarious.
Hulu, catch it.
It's
Even if it's
fantastic.
in the background, some of our favorite jokes were in there, and then
And we couldn't quote it to anybody?
We couldn't quote it because then it's like
Nobody had seen it?
No one had seen it except for a group of friends.
Our group chat were the only ones who were quoting
it's
stuff from this
to the point
movie.
where it's like we don't even quote it anymore. I'm sure if we watch it again.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
this weird kind of like when we get hit on our
Uh,
copyright stuff.
yeah.
If the graph goes up, it's muted for a bit and then it comes back up. Yeah, I'm really happy that it's out. Again, this was, I don't want to say it was a Neon pick, but, or is it just Hulu?
I mean, it's on Hulu.
Yeah, I don't
I
think it was a
don't-
Neon pick. I guess
don't
I'm just
think
saying
so.
it's Neon because I want it to be a Neon pick. But again, it's a comedy. I really enjoyed it. There's the cast in there. You may have seen, like Sydney Sweeney is in Euphoria.
Yes.
And then a bunch of these other kids have been in other things. If I'm not mistaken, what has this kid been in? The main
Is
guy.
he the one from?
I want to say this is
No.
the kid from American Vandal, but I could be wrong. I want to say it's him,
What, I guess let me check real quick.
but I could be wrong.
Let me check real quick.
But anyways, yeah. Those are the ones that I would pick for this week. Like I said, The Hunt, if you are willing to wait for it on when it comes out to renting. I don't even think you need to stream it. I think it is worth to rent it, but there's a lot of cringy jokes, and like Alina said, it's very much a Twitter...
You'd be able to pick out if you're very well versed in Twitter and certain political things like that. I'm sure you can pick out.
You'd be like, oh, I know exactly what they
Timeline,
based
yeah.
this off of. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloodshot, I do think is worth watching in Adobe Cinema because of the audio and the visuals. That said, what's up? He is the guy from American Bandit. All right, he is.
Yes.
Bloodshot, like we said, is worth watching in theaters if you are healthy to do so,
Yes.
mainly because of the visuals. But do not expect a lot from the story. If you are expecting a lot from the story, don't go for that. Instead, go for something like Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which is in limited release, the Sundance pick that we very much enjoy. Or stay at home and watch something funny like Big Time Adolescence.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, another one that I would actually pick, and I saw this here. I had seen this on VOD. Zach had highly recommended it. I'm still really high on it. I know you just saw it last night after we
I
saw the
did.
3 movies, but I really like this movie called Swallow.
It's very, very interesting, and I have to probably give it one more rewatch before I can really solidify my thoughts on it. But
I loved it.
I love that ending.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it's an incredible ending. It's incredibly shot. It's about this woman who she's a housewife living in these the family she's married into very, very rich, and she just decides to swallow something and swallows another thing and realizes she has this obsession with swallowing things.
Yep.
And what a trip! If you like movies like Raw, I might even make an LME, so I won't say more.
No.
I just really like this movie and I wanted to recommend it.
Yep.
But yeah, let's open it up to some of the stuff in the Q&A. I don't know if you saw any of the questions there.
As far as questions, people just want to know our thoughts on movies and the film industry moving and delaying their films due to
Yeah,
coronavirus.
so I wanted to make a video on this, and I may speak more to it with the South by Southwest stuff, but they were talking about moving South by Southwest to like an online thing, to where they were going to have just like an online library for anybody who had bought passes. And we know this because we've been blessed with being able to be, with the Critics Passes, to have a portal to see a couple of the certain titles actually be, online for streaming. It's kind of like a mini Netflix, but it looks kind of like whatever program your school would use. Think of like whatever that template would be, but it works in like preventing privacy and allowing critics to be able to see stuff if they're not on location. No one is on location for South by because that got canceled.
Unless the unfortunate few that have to because their refunds
And again, that's why I want to make a video.
$10,
Yeah, because
yeah.
we know some of you watch some of the live streams, and we get our thoughts out here. We get to hear some of your thoughts in response to it. But yeah, a lot of people saying school's canceled, yay! But I want to talk about it because it did cause a whole ripple, and I don't think people realize the amount of effects it's going to take with all the delays that is happening.
Tactical Bot asked, can we do a review on Freaks? Now, I don't remember what video we had mentioned this on.
Yeah.
I know Freaks is currently on Netflix right now.
Yeah, I think that's why people want us to do something on it.
We might do an individual one.
We'll see. I had recommended it, I think, like in one of the must watches. I thought it was like definitely like a a very decent rented, if maybe a junior price. But now that you can stream it.
You stream it if you have Netflix.
Yeah, it was one of those where it's like we just didn't have enough footage. It was just a trailer, and the trailer did a really good job at not telling you anything about the movie. So there was no way to make a video about it. I would just be talking over a blank screen, kind of like I am right now. But let me see what else.
Someone had asked, did we see Invisible Man?
Loved Invisible Man. We are working on a video for Invisible Man. Just working on copyright stuff there, but it goes perfectly off of our the one we just did with Blumhouse.
Which one? Oh, the fantasy?
Yeah,
No.
with Fantasy Island. With the stuff that we were saying there. Let's see. Bro, the hunt was funny. Why are you doing it so wrong? The hunt had a lot of funny moments. The thing with the hunt though is some of it was corny, and I do think that they recut some stuff. There's some stuff that just did not feel. It felt redone. It felt like they rushed to fix it up for something, only to get hit with the worst possible weekend to release something.
Honestly, the next week would have been. Mulan got moved.
Even Mulan got moved. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like with all of the movies that are getting pushed back, F9 got pushed back a year. Mulan. Another one that was supposed to come out this week was what's this one with My Spy?
Well, that's been delayed. Okay, so My Spy was supposed to come back. Well, My Spy was supposed to premiere back in August of last year. Then got pushed to January of this year.
Yeah.
Then got pushed to April or March. We're in March, and now it's getting pushed to, what is this date now?
They said April, but I don't think it's gonna. Who the heck?
April.
That's the dumbest thing. April.
No.
That's like That's like taking a shower and then taking a massive dump right afterwards. It's like April. What? That's would be when things get worse. They're probably gonna end up moving this to August. Is what I think it's going to be. But the worst part of it all, this one right here. Worst part of it all, people actually dying. This is terrible. The worst news of everything that has happened with it. New Mutants being delayed for the upteenth time.
I love the tweet that you had retweeted.
Which one?
The person that broke it down.
Oh, every 5 minutes before it gets delayed. Yeah, what a time lapse. This movie's been delayed so many times. I have and I ripped one, but I have a poster that had its original date back like in was it? I think 1942.
It just stinks because like they delay it so much, and people are gonna expect so much more from it. And really, it's just delays in life getting in the way, And then it's just, and everyone's going to hate it.
Yeah. Are you guys safe where you're at? I hope so. I think so.
I hope
but
so.
Nobody knows! Isn't that the
Nobody
beauty
knows.
of living in 2020 when we have all the information and nothing? Parasite coming to Hulu April 8th. Yes, that's that beautiful deal with Neon. We also did a our Intercut podcast. We did a Neon bracket that we were doing for March since, sadly, March sadness. The brackets died, but
sad.
Invisible Man was good. Yep. Let's see. Please use your viewer base to spread awareness about Corona.
We said
awareness about Corona, buddy. I just go on the internet. But wash your hands.
Not even that. We said it in the beginning, and we'll say it again. If you are sick, do not go to the movies. Yeah. Do not get everybody else sick and touch all the handles.
This is your public service announcement from Let Me Explain,
yes.
letting you know. It's like all the emails that everyone's receiving at the moment.
PSA. Regardless of any rating and video that we give, stay home if you are sick.
It's time to switch our ratings.
Right?
I never wanted to do numbers or stars. I wanted to do like junior price combo.
We need to send the email that everybody's sending.
Which one? Yeah.
Just
do not try this at home. No, try this at home. Don't try it in the theaters.
We're updating our ratings.
Our terms and conditions are privacy. If you could just accept our cookies. Let's see. Can you review more video games? We want to try, but the last one we did just completely flunked. I think it was because I had to click the kids thing. Yeah, that definitely affects it. Like it literally showed.
Luigi's Mansion was so much fun.
I would want to do something on Last of Us, of course, because we're living in it. But also, you recently just started playing.
I started playing BioShock Infinite. I'm not used to the POV right now with the camera being like my eyes. It's a little weird for me. I'm so used to like the third person view from like above, like the eagle view, whatever. But we'll see.
Someone asked, thoughts on I'm not okay with this. I do enjoy it. I don't like the extra stuff that they added to just be references to the 80s that Netflix likes to do with their comic adaptations
I'm not okay with this?
The comic's really good, and I don't think they'll have the balls to end like the comic. But right now, I don't think they'll be able to end like at all.
Probably not, to be
honest.
honest.
Someone said My Spy came out in January in Australia.
Yeah, because that's when it was supposed to come out.
Wow. I'm mad that COVID stopped the school. I'm surprised. A lot of people are upset they can't go to school. This is the perfect time to go to the movie theaters because no one is there. I mean, really, nobody is there at all.
Honestly, it's the perfect time to just clean. If you have the supplies to do so. I
To
know
what,
that's
clean?
kind of like the shortage, but
Yeah,
technically
spring
it is
cleaning.
spring cleaning, you know?
Oh, I love this right here. Radney says, "Is it even still considered New Mutants?" Oh, that's fantastic.
It's going to be like the editing. New, final,
Yeah,
final.
new, final, hyphen, final. Best streaming service to recommend over spring break. It's always HBO. I literally just went over to my mom's house and I said, Mom, here's the Hulu password, but please watch HBO. We got HBO. There's so much good stuff on HBO. Westworld's coming back this week, but just so many of the shows. You really can't go wrong with that. And obviously all the movies that they got. Thanks for the stream. Really appreciate it. For sure, KB. Spider-Verse is still better than Spider-Man 2. Okay. I'll give you that one. It'll always be close. It'll always be close.
Always.
Have you watched Kingdom? If we're talking about the Netflix one, I want to say so, unless there's another Kingdom, because there's like 20 kingdoms. Which movie should I watch at the movies? Invisible Man, as of now. I think is the best one. Unless you got Portrait of a Lady on Fire out.
If you want
you got Never
a
Rarely
cute little
Something.
animation, Onward.
No.
No?
Yeah, Pixar's DreamWorks Onward is not one of my favorites of this time. Does Alina agree with you that Finding Nemo is the best Pixar movie?
I'm looking at the list right now. I was like,
she's gonna come back with it. Yeah, I'm gonna give her a little bit to look at the best Pixar movie, and then she will answer that one for you. Suggest some good series to watch. I personally like Hentified. We are going to finish On My Block season 3 because that's we've been getting a lot of recommendations.
Someone did ask earlier about
we gotta finish watching that, and then we'll be making a combination of those two. Good series that I would recommend as of now. McMillions is hilarious on HBO.
That is great.
Let me get one on Netflix.
Another HBO one that I haven't finished but has me very intrigued is The Outsider.
Yes. Give a Hulu one.
Hulu. Okay, so my guilty pleasure is watching 911, so I've started 911 Lone Star. For all you guilty pleasures that like 911, it's okay.
What's the Forever Alone one?
Forever Alone one. The Alone Together?
Alone Together?
Oh, yeah, Alone Together is really funny.
I don't know how they allow half of the jokes on there. Half of the jokes miss, but it's the fact that they allow them to make half of the jokes that they do. Let's give one for Amazon.
Ooh, Modern Love. I actually enjoyed those little snippet love stories.
I would double up with Modern Love. Let's do Apple. It's canceling your subscription. I'm just kidding. Servant's actually pretty. The first couple of episodes we saw a Servant we liked. So if you do have an Apple subscription, why? But if you do have an Apple subscription, I hope you're liking Servant. And Netflix
show. Some of you have mentioned Lost in Space. Haven't finished it. Going to finish it soon.
Got nothing?
What else?
There's nothing?
Series? I mean, you already mentioned Hentified. We're going to do On My Block
Oh, yeah,
soon.
I did say Hentified. I would say Cheer. I do like Cheer. Cheer's a good one.
You did, yeah. What else is coming out?
Love is Blind. There you go.
Okay.
Elite Season 3 is out right now?
Yes, it was going to come out
This
very
is
close to On My Block.
Okay.
There's so much to watch.
Did you get your Pixar movie?
If it's not Finding Nemo, I'm going to go with Monsters, Inc. It was one of the first movies that I did see.
Do you know what Zach said? Zach literally said that Monsters, Inc. Let me show you this.
Monsters, Inc. was the first Pixar movie I saw in theaters.
You know what he said about Monsters, Inc.?
It holds a special place in my heart. I still remember the title sequence, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Bro. Also, I was like, how old was I in 2001?
Did you review
third
this?
grade?
Of course you didn't review this. So Zach said that this wasn't even top tier Pixar.
Really?
He thought this was like...
Boo.
He was treating this like it was like a early Sony Animations like movie. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? He loved Ratatouille, though.
And if not Finding Nemo or Monsters, Inc., I would go WALL-E. WALL-E holds a special place in my heart.
How do you feel about Antlers being delayed? I mean, I don't like it. Supposedly the showrunners of I'm Not Okay With This said the comic ending was too bleak. Get out of town, bro. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we're not done with some... Lena has seen probably 3 hours worth of interviews. And let me tell you, with the amount of interviews that we do for this stuff, whenever they're not over the age of 18...
Yeah.
Man, and it's not even the kids. It's the full-grown adults asking the kids the most whiny
questions.
Like, what's...
And
I don't even know the magazines.
And sometimes they're, like, not even age-appropriate. They're like, so what's your romance? It's like, well, I'm 16.
So I don't know what you're asking.
Yeah, so, like, why are you asking me these things, you know?
I was like, this show's about, like, people who committed suicide and power. And, like, what are you talking about? Have you seen The Neon Demon? Yes, very good. Radium. I don't think I've seen that, if that is a movie. Color Out of Space. Yeah, we covered it in our tip one, and I really enjoyed it. That was pretty good. How do you feel about The Office? It's funny.
Love The
Going
Office.
to watch or LME Candyman by Pio. Oh, definitely. I just saw her recent movie. Little Woods is by Nia DaCosta, who is actually directing the new Candyman movie that Peele's producing. The original Candyman is also on Netflix. Highly recommend that. Let me see. What else you got? Did you see?
Birds of Prey, yes. I really, 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 really liked Birds of Prey. We'll make a video soon. Still compiling things for that one.
LME Unidentified, yeah, we want to do an LME Unidentified with On My Block Season 3.
And for Juan Gomez on the chat, said not caught up. Is she his girlfriend or sister? Fiance, thank you very much.
Bonjour. How is the hunt? We had mentioned a little bit earlier. Rent it. Not caught up. Oh, that's the person you said. I'm gonna answer the last ones over here. I meant Kingdom, the Korean series in the Netflix with the zombies. Season 2 just came out. Damn, I gotta watch Season 2. But I don't know if we should be watching zombie stuff right now. And then, yeah, Invisible Man was awesome. That is one of the videos that we're wrapping up at the moment. I am very excited for this because I have probably the best Blumhouse reaction that I've gotten in a while. So, other than that, we will have a video out on Zola and Minari, which are two of our favorites from Sundance. So we will be releasing. We have an entire Sundance one that still is coming up. We have a lot that we've been delayed on, but we do want to catch up with. We do, again, as always, want to do these on Fridays. I know sometimes we get caught up with a festival or, a pandemic gets released to society. But other than that, we do want to make sure that we do a couple more of these. Thank you guys for watching. You can follow us on Twitter at LME Explain. We wanted to tweet a lot more. Obviously, we have all our thoughts over on Letterboxd, which is what we were using right here.
And like everyone, I am failing my New Year's resolution of keeping Letterboxd updated. But since we're under quarantine, then...
Yeah, everyone's failing their resolution of just making it to the next year. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.